A lot of people have interesting things to say about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Some see him as a visionary leader, strong leader, and others say he was a dictator. But what do you know about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah? What do you remember him for? Latif Idrisi has been asking around.
Born on September 21, 1909, Dr. Nkrumah led Ghana to independence and became known as one of Africa's foremost liberation leaders. He believed that the black man was capable of managing his own affairs.
There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
He indeed left many legacies. Naturally, he also had many critics.
He turned a £250 million credit at independence to a £600 million debt. And he left Accra studded with expensive white elephants, such as this massive saluting base here in Black Star Square.
Overlooking the square was Job 600, built by Nkrumah, specially for the OAU conference in 1965. It's never been used since.
This luxury block was to house the Pan-African Congress. They never came.
There was the Accra-Tema motorway. Cost £6 million to duplicate a fast good road already in existence.
He had a very interesting view on how to fight corruption.
Corruption is not a problem peculiar to any country. I personally feel that the only way in which you can stop corruption in a country is to build up a strong public opinion against it.
Nkrumah was overthrown on February 24, 1966, while he was in Vietnam. On 27 April 1972, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah died. Today, we ask Ghanaians, Pan-Africans and Nkrumahs how well they know the man Osajifo.
Well, I never saw Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, but I know Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah because I live in Tema. And I'm a beneficiary of one of his social housing policies, of living in a house which was built because he had that policy. That's how well I know about Kwame Nkrumah. I benefited from fee-free education. That's how well I know about Kwame Nkrumah. I come to Ghana, or when I travel, I meet other people, and they are very much interested in Ghana because they talk about Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. That's how well I know about Kwame Nkrumah. And being a Ghanaian, and we being the first country south of the Sahara to be independent, that gives me a pride, and that's how well I know Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
I didn't have the pleasure of living with him, but needless to say, I mean, in '81 I was compelled just by self-conviction. Nobody told me that we should do something about United Africa. First of all, I was going to write a book called United Africa, and then I was told that that book was written. And so I was very impressed when I discovered that that was one of his titles, of course. And also I was minded and inspired to start a United African organization which preaches United African and all the Pan-African ideals he aspired to. Again, that is just self sort of motivated, and not that he taught me directly, but perhaps it runs in the blood.
When we talk about Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah throughout all the African diaspora in the world, to me as a Ghanaian, his message is a reward of me, because the fruit that he laid down and the seeds that came out is what makes me stand here today. He's my inspirator. He's also a father to me, a father figure when it comes to Pan-Africanism. And Nkrumah stood up for justice for we black people and Africans. And Nkrumah stood up for the oppressed people of free black race. And Nkrumah also stood up for nuclear weapons and biological weapons that the outside world continue to build up. So to me, Kwame Nkrumah is not just a simple man, but to me, he's a prophet as a Rasta man.
At long last, battle has ended. Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever.
So his legacy until recently was handed in fables and stories. This was until late President John Evans Atta Mills decided to make his birthday a national holiday. Since then, every year, programs and lectures are organized in his memory. The University of Ghana, in the spirit of patriotism, has organized a memorial lecture to commemorate the birth of the first president of Ghana.
They say Nkrumah never dies. Speeches to remind us of the legacy of the first ever president of the Republic of Ghana were delivered by his children. This would have been his 105th birthday. The theme for the occasion is reminiscing the legacy of Kwame Nkrumah, a tool for national development. His daughter, who is also chair of the Convention People's Party, Samia Yaba Nkrumah, was one of the keynote speakers. She recounts some of the policies of Kwame Nkrumah that are still relevant today.
Building up our manufacturing base, our local production, is what we need to do today. And by 1970, to give you just one example, Ghana would have had four sugar factories, 4 factories producing sugar, and that would have eliminated the need for us to import sugar. Now I'm talking about 1970. So imagine if that plan had been allowed to continue. You can imagine what we were producing in every single sector.
In attendance also were students from some basic and second cycle schools.
To say that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is an excellent orator is an understatement. Here are some selected sound bites from him.
There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. Our objective is African Union now. There is no time to waste. We must unite or we perish.
Corruption is not a problem peculiar to any country. I personally feel that the only way in which you can stop corruption in a country is to build up a strong public opinion against it.
President Eisenhower and President Kennedy were genuinely interested in this project because they saw behind the cold figures and the rigid calculations that the Volta River project was not only an economically viable project, but also an opportunity for the United States of America to make a purposeful capital investment in a developing country. You see before you, in all its majesty, strength and power, the Akonsabo Dam, which has tamed the turbulent waters of the Volta.